All right, Algebra 1, here we go. Dividing polynomials. It's not a section in the book numbered, but it's the last thing that's in the book that we're going to kind of touch on here a little bit. It's basically long division is what we're going to look at. You get into it more in Algebra 2. But basically, if you can remember dividing long division, 42 divided into 16,256. We just looked at 42 times what? Does it go into 16? No. Does it go into 162? Yeah, 3 times. And then we multiplied across the top here. 3 times 42 is 126. And then we subtracted. Okay? 12 minus 6 is 6. And we borrowed 1 from here, made it 5. 5 minus 2 is 3. Bring down the next term. 42 doesn't go into 36, but it goes into 365. It's 8 times. 8 times 42 is 336. Subtract. Subtract, we get 9. We borrowed 1 there. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down your final digit. 7 goes into 40, or 7 times 42 goes into 396, 394. Subtract, you're left with 2. That's your remainder. Okay? Long division. You did it back in the 3rd and 4th grade. So what we're going to do is something very similar to that as we divide polynomials. Okay? How to. What's going to be a little different here, when we think of dividing like 42 into 162, we're always going to take our first term here. So if there's more than one term, we'd only take the first one, and we want to get it equal to the first term here. So what am I going to, so divide the first term into the first term. What am I going to multiply 3x squared by to get 9x cubed? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. And then x squared times x gives me x cubed. So 3x times that is 9x cubed. Okay? And then we're going to subtract. So they cancel out. Boom, I get 0 here. Bring down my next term, minus 6x squared. What am I going to multiply? Now I'm going into this first term. Okay? What do I multiply 3x squared by to get negative 6x squared? Negative 2. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6x squared. Then I'm going to subtract, and when I subtract here, I've already got a minus, so when I minus the negative, I end up plusing it, right? Minus the negative is plus the positive, so I get 0. Here's the remainder. I bring down my 15x, that's my remainder. So I'll get a remainder of 15x. Okay? So that's what it's going to look like when I do that. So we're dividing the first term into the first term to get them equal, and then I subtract, bring down the next term. So it's very similar to this right here. Okay, regular long division. Let's take a look at another example of that. So, when you've got it written like this, what you're dividing by, that divisor is going here, and that dividend, what you're dividing, goes here. Now, let me point something out to you here. Notice here we go x cubed down to x. We're missing, well, z. We're missing our z squared. So I've got to put it there as a placeholder. Okay? Then my minus 8z plus 2. So I'm going exponents 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay? You want it, you got to have it. You got to have that placeholder in here. You got to have that 0z right here. Squared in this case. Okay? And you'll see why. So, first one into the first one. 3 times 6, and z times z squared gives me z cubed. So I'm going to get 18z cubed, and minus the 1. Now I'm going to multiply this times both terms. I'm going to distribute it to both. See why I got to have the place value there? Because you can only combine like terms. If I had the minus 8z there, you wouldn't be able to combine them. Okay? Now, once we've distributed the 6z squared to both the 3z and the negative 1, now we're going to minus. Now when you minus here, you got to change the signs all the way across. Okay, minus the negative, that's plus the positive there. So what we get now is 6z squared. Bring down your next term. Now I'm going to put my 3z into 6z squared. And that's going to be times 2z. 2z times 3z is 6z squared. 2z times the minus 1, minus 2z. Now we're going to subtract. So that means we're changing the signs across. Following? That cancels out. I'm going to get a negative 6z. Bring down my last term. Positive 2. 3z into a minus 6z. That's going to be times a minus 2. I get a minus 6z there. Negative 2 times a negative 1 is plus 2. Now you're going to subtract. When I subtract here, I'm going to change the sign on both of them, and I'm going to get 0 remainder. So that's my answer right there. 3z minus 1 divided into 18z cubed minus 8z plus 2 is 6z squared plus 2z minus 2. Okay? So dividing into polynomials is just like long division. That's how we'll approach it right now. We'll work on that tomorrow in class, and we'll get after it then. Okay, we'll see you then. Bye.